documentary where they basically took all the archival footage from the moon landing and I maxed it. We're gonna watch these shots and we're gonna take a look at them as special effects / visual effects artists. How would we do these shots, or are they even possible? Why or why not? Let's jump in.
I love our hats. Miniature work, dude. Rear projection.
Little shots like this, you could fake this shot. You
Yeah.
could fake this shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a shot. That's an actual 3D surface down there. You might say, well, what if you built a miniature? So when you're filming stuff in miniature, there's a very, very shallow depth of field.
If it's a small object and you're using a normal size camera, basically you get extreme depth of field. Things become out of focus very quickly. And it's hard to compensate with that. The only way to do that is to stop down to an extreme level like an f/22 and then blast it with something brighter than the sun.
Let's let it keep, we'll see how long the shot goes on for. This shot is still going. Whoa, okay, it just got way more impossible. There's no lights in the ceiling. So if you built this whole thing in miniature, and your camera's this big, you're looking at like at least a football field sized stage. This would have to be built indoors too, by the way, because it's all shaded. The sky's black, there's no blue spill. This is all lit from a single light source.
Dude,
So
space lasers.
the ceiling would have to be so high, and the light would have to be so bright to cover this entire area in an even wash of light, because otherwise you're gonna have a hot spot, whichever is closest to the light.
Well, that's the other thing is that, like, in order to actually evenly light a whole bunch of stuff, it would just be too soft. You wouldn't have any sharp shadows like you see on the moon. And when you do get the sharp shadows, they're gonna be at angles. They're never gonna quite get parallel unless you literally throw millions of miles into the mix.
Yeah.
If you guys like these videos and you like this channel and you want to get more, consider subscribing to corridordigital.com. It helps us out, helps you out, and make better content by doing so.
I want to see the actual footage of them running across the moon, because people are like, oh, you could just slow down the footage. Slow motion. That makes anti-gravity, right?
Look at these goofs.
If these guys are moving in slow motion, that guy sure didn't move that slow.
No,
His feet kicked out at regular
exactly.
human speed. Once again, if these guys are on Earth, look at the ups that guy has in that spacesuit.
Well, he could be on wires, Nico. He could be on wires.
Could he? I don't know about that. That's a big area to put a wire in somehow. And then if these guys are recorded in slow motion, one, you can only record things in slow motion for like a minute back in the day.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Slow motion cameras, if you were to do this, like, you could only shoot for like a few like 30 seconds at a time.
It would be impossible to record slow motion for the length of time that we see some of these shots run for.
I was strolling on the moon one day.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of looks fake.
So why does this look fake?
I'm getting that like Hollywood backdrop look where it's just that clean line. Oh, but that's the thing. The moment he starts running and you realize, that's no backdrop. We just zoomed in. So his scale compared to that backdrop was like hundreds of feet tall at the very least.
Also, another thing to keep in mind is that the reason why it does look slightly uncanny is the fact that you can see so far, and it completely destroys your sense of scale because there's no atmospheric dispersion of the light.
Fog, basically.
Yeah, there's no fog.
There's zero haze in any of these shots. Notice that you can see all the way out to the edge of the horizon and there's zero haze because there's no air on the moon.
So like that distant crater off in the distance is going to be just as sharp as the rock at your feet.
It's also worth pointing out the way the dust is blowing would be impossible if there was air in that room. When you have air and you blow more air into it, you get vortices, you get turbulence.
Ooh.
So just like when a rocket takes off, you have a little bit of a streak and it goes poof and it becomes all puffy. There's no puffiness there because there's no air to create resistance. So you go and the particle just goes zing. So that shot that we just saw with that dust would have also had to been filmed in a vacuum. If there's one thing that I've learned from shooting cool sci-fi stuff, it's that having reflective space helmets is the hardest thing to deal with on set because you always see the camera, and you always see the lights, and you always see the microphones. There are no lights being reflected there in that helmet.
You can actually see Neil Armstrong holding the Hasselblad camera pointed at Buzz Aldrin right there. So Buzz Aldrin may have not been the first person on the moon, but he was the first model on the moon.
These videos on the moon are really crazy to watch. If you have any other real life phenomena that people think are real or fake and would love us to break down like this, let us know in the comments below.
Let's watch them leave the moon.
Oh, right.
Just like content out of that.
All right, there they are, the little white dot.
Whoa, no way.
Yep.
Cool.
This could not be stop motion. Stop motion would be impossible to get that kind of motion out of it. It just would. You can't get that kind of smooth. Yeah. So you got perspective shifts in the background, so it's not a painting.
Yeah.
They're moving around an object that would have to be a model or something that somebody has built. Let's just let it keep going though. All right, unbroken shot, here we go.
It still hasn't actually left frame, and it started out so tiny you couldn't even resolve it, and now it's like very noticeable in the shot.
Yeah, the only way to do that shot of the moon lander coming back to the orbiter is you'd have to build a giant spherical art piece and spin it, and then you have to have a little thing move across the distance. A model, I guess. It had to be a pretty big model for the amount of detail on it. You'd have to have an arm, a mechanical arm, but
Yeah.
you couldn't paint it out. There's no blue screen here. There's no blue screen fringing or edging.
Can we look at a scene in 2001 really quick?
2001: A Space Odyssey, directed by Stanley Kubrick, came out just a year before the moon landing. So it's a great reference for the best of the best for visual and special effects at that time. And we can see how that stacks up to the actual moon landing here. Just immediately, it looks so different. Like you can tell the planet in the background is just a static painting.
And again, we're dealing with deep space stuff where the harsh shadows are easier to get.
But the lighting doesn't match up between the planet and the space station, and there's bounce light on the space station that's coming from who knows where. Once again, there's no perspective shifts on any of this stuff. Because the way they had to do these shots is basically do a painting. They could put in little, bits of footage like these people at their stations. But notice the camera doesn't move anywhere in the scene. It's just locked and it zooms out. Hey, look at all the turbulence in that smoke.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah! See how it's curling? You would not have any curls on the moon.
So this is a funny April Fool's idea we've had for a long time. I'm glad we finally got to sit down and do it. Yeah, believe it or not, I think the technology required to fake the moon landing, to the extent that we would see it, is almost more ambitious and harder to do than going to the moon.
Almost. It's significantly harder.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Episode
Happy April
19.
Fool's Day. Or if you're watching this at a later time, then happy day.
There, they have 20 minutes about for one episode. This one is just for an 8 minutes. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Let me know in the comment what you want from me to make what kind of content. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Not really, I think. Yeah, see you, bye.